Hi everybody. So I wanted to just do a quick thing here, showing you all how these thick scrapers are correctly ground. These are awfully useful tools, and these are really from antiquity, when rumor has it, or legend has it, that is, that they were made from broken swords found on the battlefields of Renaissance, what became Italy, what's now northern Italy. So these are two examples here. This one was given to me by my buddy Alan Carruth, who helped to develop this tool. This one's about 5 millimeters thick, and it's quite hard. It's tool steel, quite hard, and not soft like a normal scraper. And then this one I bought from Stuart McDonald, and this is the smaller scraper. So now you could get both of these scrapers from Stuart McDonald's, large and small. This one's about 3 millimeters thick. These are awfully handy and work really, really well on hard materials like ebony. But really, you can use them on any kind of wood. And because of the way these work, we're gonna get the best result by grinding it on the periphery of the wheel like this. We'll set up the tool rest square so that we get the same angle on both sides. In other words, the edge will be square to each side. And in this case, we're going to have a quick look at the grinding wheel that we're going to use. Now, this is an aluminum oxide wheel with some really, really big holes in it, and that's to help the wheel work and cut in a cool way. And we'll look over here where we've got a cheat sheet here for what the numbers on the wheel mean. And it's not that scary. I know there's a lot of numbers. The number on the left is the manufacturer's specific grade of abrasive, which we have no idea what that means. And on this wheel it says 48, and we can forget about that. Then A means that it's aluminum oxide, which almost all grinding wheels are either aluminum oxide or silicon carbide. That tells you it's aluminum oxide, which is a good material for grinding tool steel. And then the next number is 46, and that's the grain size, or the grit size in the wheel, 46 grit. The next one is letter H, which is a hardness, and you'll see down here H is sort of in the middle of the alphabet, so we think that's kind of a medium hard wheel. And then after that is a density number. So the next one after H, oh, it's not showing it here. Okay, it says V, which means a vitrified bond. So that's the vitrified bond. And then who cares what these other things are? Anyway, that's what we needed to know, is that it's a 46 grit wheel, which sounds like a pretty coarse wheel, but you can see that it leaves quite a good surface. And this is one of the things that happens when you get abrasives to go very, very fast. They leave a surface that is way better than you would think from the size of the grains. Anyway, we want to use the coarsest wheel that we can in order to get the work over with. So I should say a little bit about this. This was, I don't know what size it is now, but it started off as a 7-inch diameter wheel. And that might seem odd to some of you, since grinders, a bench grinder like this would come in either so-called 6 or 8-inch sizes. So obviously you can't put a 7-inch wheel on a 6-inch grinder, which is kind of a bummer, because those are the ones that are easy to find. But nevertheless, this is what we're stuck with. In the world of industrial grinding wheels, the the great bulk of the wheels are 7-inch diameter. So it's good to get an 8-inch diameter grinding setup. So here's a stamped washer that came with this, the usual 5/8 arbor. We've got a plastic spacer out here because most of these 7-inch industrial wheels have a 1 1/4-inch arbor hole. So this is one I made, but you can buy these commercially. Not a hard thing to find. I'm having a hard time getting this piece of paper to stay still. Maybe I'll pull this out a tiny bit while we do that. There we go. Hang on there for a minute. There we go. So it's really important to put this piece of paper in there. You have to have paper in between this clamp washer and the wheel. Very important to have a layer of paper. And then when we put the nut on, we want to notice that on one side there's this little kind of turned washer shape on the nut, and on the other side it's just nothing. So the way this goes is this side with this little turned washer feature on it is the side that you want to use to apply the pressure. On a grinder, the threads on the right side for the right-hand wheel will be regular old right-handed threads, so the screw on clockwise. And on the other side, the left side of the wheel, I thought this was working. Oh, there it is. Okay. Nut's a little beat up by the previous owner of this antique grinder. All right, so there we are, and it's important always to have the guards in place because although it doesn't happen very often, it's possible certainly for the wheel to come apart and shatter, and wouldn't want to be hit by any of these chunks, so we make sure we use the guard. There's another piece of the guard right here in front of me that's important as well, which is this chunk. And as you can see, there's a slot in this chunk of steel so that you can adjust it to make sure that there's only a small gap between this piece of metal and the grinding wheel. So if it did come apart and explode, it would retain the big chunks. I'm not wearing a mask, as you can see, but what I am doing is talking, which is incompatible with mask wearing, so we're not going to use this for long. Let's hope I live through this. But it is good practice always to have a mask. So now we're going to try and set this table so that it's square to the edge at the thickness of the scraper. I'm going to look at this, see how close we can get by eyeball. And then a really good trick is to black out the edge, and then without turning the grinding wheel on, just turn it by hand, and we can see that it's touching at the bottom, which means we need to shift the table. Okay, that's really closer. Even sounds different. All right, well, we can see that we're very close to being perfectly square. Let me try this the other way. Of course, that'll check to see how good a job I did last time, which doesn't look like it's perfect. It doesn't really have to be perfect, but I'm going to see what we can do to... I think that's going to be a good compromise. So we'll try and tighten this up without moving the angle of the table, we hope. See how we did. We're going to take it. That's close enough. Okay, so these holes are kind of cool because you can control the you help control the part while you're grinding it, like that. Remember, anytime you're not sure what you're doing on the grinder, just back off a tiny bit and you'll be safe. So the other thing we want to make sure is that we have a nice fresh surface on the wheel, and I think you can see that there's a little bit of metal glazed on the surface of the wheel here. So the first thing we're going to do is take this stick. This is called Norbide, and it's because it's some kind of carbide, I guess, or something like that. Made by Norton, so Nor for Nor and Bide for Bide. We're going to take this, and it's way harder than the aluminum oxide. We're going to take off just a tiny bit of the wheel and leave a totally fresh surface. Okay, so I think you can see that those globs of metal that we were looking at are gone, and now we've got some nice fresh grains to do the work, so that's good. And see what we do. All right, so this one we've taken the cut all the way around, and I got it straightened out. It's square again now. And let's have a quick look at what it does. On this piece of ebony over here. So scrapers love working on hard material, of course. So we've gotten a great surface, and you see, even though we used a 46 grit grinding wheel, we have a fantastic surface on the wood here. No compromise, no problem at all, and lovely curls for shavings. Okay, so that's the big one. Yeah, and this one's a little smaller in thickness, so change the angle a little bit. I'm checking with the straight edge just to make sure that I haven't inadvertently ground a hollow into this, which would make it less wonderful. So here we go with the little buddy. And again, really the same result. A little different shaving maybe. Not quite sure why that is, but same exact result in terms of the surface. Got a fantastic surface with, you know, almost no tool marks. Gee, really looks great. Anyway, so that's the easiest scraper sharpening that we're going to get to. I just thought you'd like to see this one.